Are you still reeling from all the relationship wounding that you underwent starting in 2020? Are you concerned about how our entire humanity is moving down a path of more and more anger and division and hostility and chaos? Do you wonder if we'll ever come back from it? Well, if so, I'd invite you to stick around because I'd love to talk with you about the thing we're not supposed to talk about. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Lucille Neckes, and I am a spiritually oriented psychiatrist and psychotherapist. This is my channel, Dr. Lucille on Relationships. And my mission is to help humans individually and collectively heal from all the relationship trauma that we've undergone for these last 5 or so years, and also to try to knit us back together as a humanity in heartfelt connection, and maybe even unconditional love. So there's a tall order, and I want to start off by explaining why I'm heading all the way to unconditional love after talking about healing. You know, in my experience, we've all had some taste of unconditional love. And if we have enough of it, it's incredible how it can move mountains. And on this planet, we as a collective need to start moving all the mountains of problems that we're dealing with. So, first off, do you even think that unconditional love in this planet is possible? Well, I do. I certainly do. Of course, that's why I'm talking about it. If you notice, if you review your life, you may notice that you have had, if not brief moments of unconditional love, sometimes you've been, in states for days, weeks, months, maybe even years of unconditional love. When you first saw your baby, when you fell in love, when you discovered a purpose that just lit you up, those are all states of unconditional love. And as I say, I think if we can foster those states, we can move mountains. We can move mountains. I'll tell you my personal story. Many years ago, my mother was diagnosed with cancer. It was quite sudden. She was living many, many years on her own, very independently, seemed to be doing fine. And I was living about 2 hours away from her, having my own independent life, seeing my patients. I had a very busy practice and still do. And I began to notice that she was deteriorating and not making sense. And so I would start driving back and forth, trying to figure out how to help her. And the problem was that she did not recognize that she really needed help. And she refused to go to the hospital. She refused to see a doctor. She just wanted to lie in bed. She didn't want to eat. She didn't want to drink. So I was overwhelmed. Now, I knew the medical system in the city I lived in. I really didn't have any awareness of the medical and, healthcare practices available in her city. I knew I could take her to hospital, but she was adamantly refusing. And I was just beside myself. So in all of this, I thought, I really want to help her, and I can't do it in the state I'm in. I really want to help her coming from a state of unconditional love. And that was a tall order because my mother and I had spent most of our lives kind of butting heads. It was a very, very conflictual relationship. but I did love her. I decided I have to stay in that state of love for her because otherwise I won't be able to help her very well. And you know, from the moment I made that vow, that I made my desire known, it was as if something started lifting me up. And I actually began to feel kind of like a state of bliss. It was like every cell of my being cast off its burden, and I floated. It was as if I floated through the whole experience of taking care of her. I described it to some people as it's like a big cosmic hand reached down from the heavens and erased the slate of all the problems that my mother and I had experienced with one another. Just wiped it clean. And you know, after that point, miracles started happening. I finally managed to get her to emergency, and all except for one doctor, everybody we met, the ambulance drivers, everybody, were amazing. They were so kind, so helpful, so compassionate. They opened doors for me that I didn't even know existed. So she was able to get into hospice care within a couple of days, actually in less than a week of her diagnosis of cancer. And this was a hospital with limited beds, but a huge catchment area that they were trying to serve. In that hospice, she was treated like she was one of the family. The staff were absolute angels, and they cared so much about their patients, but also about their family members. And I was able, on very little sleep, to keep visiting my mother, to organize a lot of her disorganized finances and paperwork, and organize her apartment and get her all the things that she needed. And I can't even tell you how many miracles, how many things came in to support me just at the moment that I needed that support to help her. This went on for months. And at the end, I had the most amazing heart-to-heart communication with my mother as she was passing. It was the most beautiful thing that I'd ever experienced in my life. I was able to speak directly from my heart about how much I truly loved her and apologize to her for all of the ways that I hurt and wounded and misunderstood her. And her passing was also a miracle, but that's another story. I really felt that we were supported by the angels to make it the best possible experience for her of passing over. And then after that, as I had so much to do in terms of settling her estate, etc., selling her home, I was again amazed to find that doors opened suddenly. The right people came along. They knew exactly what to do to help me, and they helped me beautifully. Now, I'm not still in that state of unconditional love. I went back to my life, of course, full time, and, you know, the usual stresses and strains and joys and rewards came through. But that state of unconditional love was beyond anything that I have ever experienced before or since. And you know, I wish that state for all of us. So that's my personal story that inspires me to see if we can create something like that or close to that in this world. I certainly don't believe that everyone is going to come on board or experience that. But there may be some of you out there who would really love to try, or at the very least would love to build more heartfelt connections with other human beings. So if you resonate with this message, please let me know in the comments whether you think that unconditional love is even possible. Have you had an experience of it yourself? I'd love to know what your experiences are. And would you like to try, at the very least, to rebuild some of those broken relationships that we've been left with? And I would love it if you could share this video out to anybody who you think may enjoy the content or get some help from it. And please leave a like. So I am so looking forward to talking with you in the next video.